Hello and welcome back to the SuperCoach Corner podcast for the round 10 preview ahead of round 10 upcoming this weekend. I'm Tyson. Joined alongside me here is Darcy. Darcy, how are you feeling heading into round 10 with your season on the up trajectory?
Yeah, a couple good weeks. Well, maybe 2 out of 3 good weeks. So, bit of an increase in ranks the last couple of weeks. I feel all right, Tuss. I think I need a couple of things to go my way to continue this way, but not too bad. What about yourself? I mean, probably not the same, but look, it can't get much worse. Surely you've been dealt a bit of bad luck.
I think we're saying that every week, and it just keeps getting worse. But now to add in the fact I can't see out the left eye,
Yeah, yeah.
if you can, watching on video there. Nah, it's a season of roller coasters, and yeah, it's we'll get to trades and stuff like later, and you've been kissed on the dick a little bit, so I'm not saying all season. I'm just saying last week. I'm just saying
No.
last
Anyway,
because
we can
we
argue
have both
that. But yeah, you have. I mean, you've copped a lot of the injuries, and look, another one this week in Nazz that I've managed to dodge, which is nice. But I can't imagine. I can't remember a year like this with this many Supercoach relevant guys keep going down pretty much, every week or two. So I'm sure a lot of players have been hit by a lot of it. Some more than others, but yeah, it's just the way the cookie crumbles sometimes. But yeah, a normal round preview, Ties. We'll go through some of the best trading and trading options, some injury news, and all of the best rookies, even though there's not heaps around, but we'll review the guys we have got to choose from. Before we get into that, just a shout out to our socials, so make sure you go and follow us there. Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, give us a follow for more content. And our unlimited league ties. The code is 728323, and we have got some good performers in there.
Yeah, got a few this round, especially we got Ryan topping the scoring in that league, coach of Schmack. Got a 2,583, which I believe was the 14th for the round overall. So that's pretty impressive to have. He's in one of the leagues that I'm in with him, a cash league, and he is, fair to say, dominating it. So yeah, he's going very well in there. In terms of the total score, we've got 18 now in the top 1,000. Just keeps growing each week, which is pretty cool to see. A few shout outs here. James, owner of Sheezy Ball, gets some regular mention. He's now 119th, so nearly cracking into that top 100. Benjamin, Quirky's Greats at 127. Reno is back into the top 5 and always, yeah, just continuing that streak of always getting a mention here. Ranked 184 after a decent score that week. Ryan has found himself in the top 5 after that huge score of that 2,583. So he went up 1,702 ranks to be 218th overall, which is a huge rank jump at the pointy in the competition. And then Mitchell, the owner of Cookies and Dat, at 225, had a little rank slide, but still in the top 225, which is good to see.
Yeah, very good. A lot of, high performing guys that are performing a lot better than us at the moment. So, like I said, every week, Tyson, fingers crossed we can catch them at some point. As we do every week with the preview pod, we'll start with the injuries. So, recording on a Wednesday, so a few injury news out of last night. Probably the biggest one we'll touch on first is the teams for tomorrow. So, Darren Joyce has been dropped, so was the most popular training option this week. So, Darcy Garner was a test. He's fit to play, so Joyce has been dropped. Some other injury news. Text the test. So for those wanting Toby Murray, it might impact him. Darcy Fogarty is also good to go after kicking 3 in the sample last week, so might impact his job security. Darcy Cameron has been ruled out. So good for Steen owners, good for Grundy owners. You'd think it's a good matchup coming Friday night, and Steen will get the number 1 ruck duties across the night. From an Essendon side, I think Dyson Sharp, 6 weeks, Tice, and Jai Caldwell's a test. So I think that's important for probably Sardis mainly, if Sardis can get a recall, and then potentially Sullivan Roby as well. If you're looking there for a downgrade option, we'll get to that discussion soon. Sean Darcy, 1 to 3 weeks. So, Luke Jackson's still averaging 125 with him in the side, but averaging 140 with him out of it. So I don't know how much of an impact that has, but he's 1 to 3 weeks away. Miles Bergman, He's gone in for toe surgery, I believe, Tice. So he's listed as TBC. I got no idea how long that's going to take. But and then Josh lies into concussions. I thought that'd be good news for Todd Marshall, but he is on the plane to Darwin. But from all reports, Saba Radaglia will be in for him. So that's disappointing. It doesn't look like he'll get the recall. A couple more. Kama Corliff has a sore Achilles, so I think he'll miss some footy. It's listed as TBC, so hopefully that calls for a spike in CBAs for Sam Cumming, Tice. Nazz is 3 weeks. We'll get to Nazz, obviously. Big news out of this week. Jack Higgins is a test for those looking at Liam Henry as a 160k forward downgrade option. So he could make way with Dan Butler a couple of weeks away as well. And then Tom McCartan is a test for those looking Will Edwards' way. So a lot of injury news, not exactly SuperCoach relevant players, but I think it does have a lot of relevance in terms of rookie options that we do have. So that's probably the crux of it, Tice. Any injury news stands out more, or anything you're eyeing off? Yeah, anything there that stands out to you, really?
I mean, it's just the ones that you've mentioned in terms of McAuliffe being out. Hopefully, Cumming gets that spike in CBAs. Nazz, how does that affect, say, a Philippou getting maybe some more midfield time? DCAM, so obviously good for Steen owners if you were looking to flip him. So, a few irrelevant sort of injuries that sort of turn into relevant role playing. So, definitely do like that. Now, let's move on to the trade segment, and we're obviously nearing the buy rounds. So just make sure you're having a look at your buys. You don't have to fully buy plan like a lot of other people do. If you're at the pointy end, I do recommend it. But it's at least just keep in the back of your mind how many you've got on that buy round. If you're tossing up between two players and you've got that one extra on that buy round already, maybe lean to the other guy and grab the other one you're looking at after their buy round. A big example would be round 12 when you're looking at the forwards mainly. There's a lot of relevant ones there that are, on the buy. So, keep an eye on that. But let's look at the trade out segment. We've got to cull a few rookies that are fattened up and, going to start bleeding pretty soon. And the top of the list we're going to look at is Jacob Farrow. Got a break even of 80 here, Das. Is it time to move him on? We've seen his massive spike score.
Yeah, it's an easy one. Break even of 80, move him on. I think he's just going to start to hemorrhage cash. His form in the last 3 weeks hasn't been anything to write home about. So hasn't really shown us much that he'd be able to hit that 80 mark. I know he's got a couple nice games coming up, but I just don't think it's worth it. He's fat enough. I'd be happy to move him on. It just sucks that a lot of these guys are defenders, and we don't have much to downgrade in defense, so you'd probably be looking to go up if you had to. Nazz Tice is the big one, so he's the most traded out player at the moment. Been listed as at least 3 weeks. Josh Gablich reported yesterday, so that could be more. It's important to note that it is, so let's say it's 3. It's important to note that it's 2 weeks of full 23, and then we get into the buy round, so it helps to cover for him a little bit more. I know the first buy is a little bit hard, and one of the harder rounds we have, but you're an owner, Tice. I'm not. Where are you sitting with Nazz?
Yeah, well, this was the little bit of the kiss on the dickage that you got last week. With it's probably to your own, I guess, good thinking in terms of the fact that Whitfield had that perfect role with Ash moving into the midfield. So I think it was a warranted decision, even with Nazz playing. So, and then you found out that Nazz was laid out, so that always works well in your favor. But I just think that if it's 3 and you're playing for rank, you have to move on. If you're just not going to get to the pointy end, just hold him for the league. You don't have to use that extra trade, especially if you've had a lot of injury issues and injury trades you've already spent. It's definitely more a caveat to holding because he's a top line defender on average, obviously. And obviously a gun player as well. You're probably going to look to trade him back in regardless at the back end of the year. So, I'm going to have to hold I've had too many injury trades. The fact that my team's so far behind, it's not going to affect my trades this week. So in theory, in my head, like it's kind of just a 2 week play. It's kind of a way I'm looking at it. It doesn't affect my upgrade or my trades this week. I'm still going to target the 2 guys that I want.
Yeah. I think it is very team dependent. And I sort of fall, to put it simply, I think if you don't have a boost, you'd hold. And if you have a boost, trade. Like, I don't think it should affect your upgrade cadence. If you have a boost, then you can sideways into Whitfield or Archie Roberts or Bellydale or someone up there, one of the top end guys, then yeah, I could advocate for that. But I don't want it to. And if you were planning to do 1 up, 1 down this week, and trading out Nazz limits you from doing that, I would say a hold is the better strategy moving forward. So I think we're both pretty aligned on that one. In terms of who to replace him, if you are trading or you do have that boost, you're looking to sideways, and we'll get to that in the trading section. But continuing on with the trade outs, Tice, Tanner Bruin, break even at 89 now. Probably didn't take full advantage of a good matchup last week in Collingwood, and a big win playing half forward as well. I had high hopes for him, but I think the role is probably too much now. I'd be happy to move him on.
Yeah, I'm pretty happy to move him on too. He's done his job for us, and yeah, he's fattened up enough and provided some nice scoring. So yeah, if he's going to release that cash to get you up to another upgrade, it's perfect time to move him on. If you have to hold him another week because you've got some other issues, say a Nazz, and you're pretty set on trading him, then yeah, it's not the worst thing to hold. He's not going to bleed that much cash. So I would be moving him on, even with him looking in line to get defensive DPP, which we might get to a little bit later as well. So yeah, I'd still be moving him on there. Mateus Philippou is next, 58 break even. Well, 56 break even, but he's got Richmond this week. Is it time to move, or do we need to hold him for it?
I'd be holding it. Like, spike game incoming potentially anyway. And then, I don't know, I'd love to see, is there an impact with Nazz out long term, or, short to medium term? Is there an impact on Philippou's midfield minutes potentially? Like, they obviously he's a midfielder long term for them, so they can, they have this stretch now against a lesser opponent, Richmond. Do they bleed him in the midfield and see if he's got something? And maybe Jack Higgins comes back and it comes in for, I don't know, Jack McRae or something, and it pushes him in. So I'll be happy to hold Philippou. I think there's much bigger issues to be moving on. Josh Lindsay, I think it's the same, Tice. I think you probably there's bigger issues. He's got to break in with 80, which is pushing his average, but he's pushing out pretty consistent scores. Even if he drops 5-10K this week, I think he's a reliable on-field scorer. So we'd be wanting to hold him at this stage, and I think I plan to hold him pretty much through to his bye, unless I'm out of fat and rookies elsewhere and I have no other issues. But I think he's a safe hold at this point. Jack Carroll, for those who've held him, obviously provided a couple nice spike scores in the last couple of weeks, but has that 100 drop out of his system. So now has a break even of 76. He's done a really good job. A rookie that I missed, Tice. I know he's got Richmond this week, but I think it's just time to move on. Like, take the winnings that you've got, and yeah, move him on.
Yeah, 76 break even. He's only eclipsed that once, which was that 106 spike score, and leveled it once. But outside of that, his next big score was 59, and I don't suspect you're going to get much more than that. So yeah, it's probably easier to move him on, even with Richmond this week. So yeah, easy to flip Jack Carroll. Hopefully he's in your midfield and you don't have to grab a defender. Next on this list we've got is Willem Dersma. 85 break even. He's made nearly 200K as the number 1 draft pick. Provides some really nice scoring. This is one that we both missed out on, but I think it's fair to say it'd be time to cull.
Yeah, I think he's a similar boat to Tanner Bruin for mine. Like, similar scoring outputs, both very reliable on-field guys, but they've done their job now. Obviously, Willem more than Tanner in terms of the cash that he's made, but you can hold, if, like you said, if you've got other issues. Like, he's a reliable on-field scorer. You can hold for a little bit longer. Won't hemorrhage too much cash, but I think he's getting to the pointy end of his cash generation, and you can upgrade him. I mean, he's like, what, 80K to Finn Callahan, Tice, like 70K to Hugh McCluggage, 60 to Dan Zilko if you have a bit of DPP. Like, he's done a really good job and gets you up to a really high-end guy. So I'll be happy to move him on. Sam Grill's next on this list, was managed last week, but still has a high break even. So I think it's time for him to go if you didn't move on last week, which I think most of the competition did. Tumble Myers, Tice, break even of 60. This is an interesting one. I mean, it's pretty much punches out 60s every week anyway. If he keeps his spot, I'm pretty much even on this. If you want to trade him and you can get your trades done with him, then yeah, go for it. Otherwise, I think you can hold as well. So I don't think I'm much either way with Tumbler Myers. I'm quietly hoping he gets dropped, so I have a bit of a loop option, but we'll see how that goes. Jai Sarong is a test or a turn for this week. I think most have probably moved on by now, but if you haven't, he's good to go. That probably sums up the rookies, Tyson. In terms of maybe some other guys, so let's go. Well, he was a rookie, Lockie McAndrew. Could you, if you've held this long, do you continue to hold, or do you think you can use his cash? Got a break even in the 50s, I believe, but up against Tristan Sherry this week.
Yeah, break even of 53. Tristan Cherry, I don't actually think is a bad matchup for him. Former rugby union player, like they're going to both love a tackle. It's going to be high tackling numbers from these two, I suspect. So, yeah, it could bode well to better scores for McAndrew. The fact that his break even's low enough, you could wait on when you want to grab your ruckman that you're targeting. I think that's just the point when you, if he's still at R2, then yeah, it's just the point when you want to grab your ruckman. If he's in the flex, he's probably not your biggest worry. I'd be probably moving on Lindsay instead of McAndrew just because of Lindsay's break even. Yeah, that's kind of where I sit on it. It's just whenever you want to release his cash, he's not going to bleed too much with a 53 break even.
Yeah, I agree. If he gets you to someone and you've got no one else to really move on, I think you can move him on. But like, he's still got cash to make, and even in tough matchups, he's proven to be a pretty reliable on-field scorer. So I think the hold is well and truly there. If you've got other guys to move on, Josh Rochelle, Tyson, another one in a different boat. I mean, I picked him up hoping him to be a bargain F6 option, and he's turned to shit, really, to put it lightly. I mean, he has lost his midfield role. He's just playing as a small forward. I think he had 17% CBAs last week, so not much there. He's hemorrhaging cash, 398k, break even of 85, up against North this week. What would you do if you were an owner here?
I think you just got to hold until the bye. See how he goes the next 2 weeks. Yeah, he's got North this week, but that probably bodes as a better option, a better matchup for him. And then Hawthorn after that. Wait till the bye. See, if, you might have some other issues, but you'll have 3 trades on each of the buys. So worst cases, you'll be able to flip in there. He's already under 400k, so it's not like he's going to hurt you too much on the cash front either. So yeah, just hold him till the bye. In my eyes, rookies though, we need to grab some rookies for if we want to downgrade and then upgrade come next week. So we'll talk about a few based on break even. Liam Henry is the one that tops the list for the lowest break even. Negative 47, 160k forward. I mean, it's a small forward. I don't know if I'm buying into this. 88, the scores of 88 and 56. Yes, the 88 is very nice, but he's doing it with really low time on ground. And I think he's the first one to come out of this side when, say, a Higgins or someone comes back. So, yeah, he does have Richmond this week, which means another spike score could be coming. But if he doesn't perform, I think he's then going to be dropped.
Yeah, I don't love it. The price tag for a small forward is heaps. And I know that break even's good, but like you got to also remember it's an 88 in round 1, like in his first game. So that's out of his system next week. He drops another 50 and all of a sudden his cash gen starts to dry up really quickly. So, yeah, I'm not a fan. I get that there's not many options this week. I just think it could shoehorn you with bad job security, bad scoring potential, bad flexibility in terms of no DVP. I don't like it. The only positive is the Richmond matchup this week that I think he could take advantage of potentially. And there's obviously talent there. I mean, for the former top 10 pick and did play good footy at Freo, has just yet to put it together fully for Saints yet. So mean, hopefully he can. And for those going there, I couldn't begrudge you because there's not much better options. But I don't think he is the guy that I would be advocating for this week. Darren Joyce was the other one that we mentioned at the top of the episode. Dropped for tomorrow night. So he's got the second lowest break even. I wouldn't be looking there. What about Lockie Smith, Tice? Ruckman from the Dogs. No Tim English with concussion, and they've said they're going to be conservative with him. So let's just say it's 2 weeks at a minimum. It's hard because we don't really know. Like, if we knew for certain we're getting 4 weeks out of him, I think he'd be a great buy, but there's every chance it's 2 and then he's gone, and then you stuck with 160k R3. And then what do you do with that?
Yeah, I mean, Louis Emmett was in this squad for 2 weeks without English before Lockie Smith came in, and he only had 37% and 58% CBAs. Then Lockie Smith came in, and Smith was the preferred ruckman with 71%, and Louis Emmett did the other 29. Smith then went back out when English came back in, and it was the same split, just with English taking 71. And then they reversed it and did English at 70 with Lockie Smith at 30. So it's kind of weird how the Dogs are running the 2 young ruckmen. And I feel like they are going to run them both like they did in the games that English missed. It's just, what's that split going to be? The only game that they both played in where English missed was Lockie Smith had 71%, but we can't guarantee that that's going to be the case. If he is looking to be the number 1 ruck, we're then only speculating that it might only be 1 to 2 weeks. So I'm not sure if I like it. Yeah, you might just have a dead ruck rookie on your bench, and it's ruck only, no DPP come a week or 2.
Yeah, I don't like. I like it. I think the scoring will be okay, and I think he probably has the potential to make the most cash out of these guys. I just think, like you said, like 2-3 weeks, and just the no flexibility hurts. I mean, I've got ZZ at R3, then I would have Smith stuck at R3, ZZ stuck at D8, and then it doesn't provide you with much. So I think there's a lot of risk, maybe potentially the highest reward, but a lot of risk. I don't really love it. A couple other guys, Tyson, in terms of on the bubble, any interest in Wade Dirksen, who kicked 5 goals in the VFL last week? New coach, potentially could come in, 99k defender, or Nick Cox, obviously been in the system for a while, had a lot of head issues. He's got a negative 13 break even. I think he's 134k. Any interest in either of those?
I'm not too interested in Nick Cox, like, really at all. I don't think the job security is that great, and I don't think he's too much of a footballer, to be honest. But yeah, so I'm not looking at Nick Cox, especially at 134k mid only. Wade Dirksen, I am interested in. The fact that he's 99k interests me, and then like he's transitioned to a forward role, which I don't like as much. Because provided he comes in based on the back of 5 goals, I'd suspect he goes forward. But it releases the most cash. You're getting to the point where you're going to start picking up 99k rookies. And on the off chance that he puts together 3 or 4 games in a row, he's now a cash generating 99k rookie that you can flip again later down the track. So I'm more inclined on Dirksen. I just wouldn't be grabbing him if you already have a dead rookie on the defense line with like a Perez if people went there, or you've still got Jax or something like that. So yes, I think Dirksen might be one of our best options this week, though.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah, in the same boat. I wouldn't want 2 dead guys back there, but could be the guy. Like, he was in the Giants list for I think 4 years. I might be wrong there, and was drafted as a key forward, played key forward for at least 3 of them. Then got switched to defense for his last year. So he knows how to play key forward, but obviously it's not a very SuperCoach friendly role. So would have loved the halfback seagulling, but who knows, might be the best option we have. Tice, when we're struck with bad rookies, sometimes we have to go late. So any of these guys, we'll go through them. So Toby Murray, who I mentioned at the top, Tex potentially coming back in, Darcy Fogarty coming back in. I think the job security is just not good. Back-to-back 70s is nice, but he's getting a lot of it in the ruck and played Richmond, which is obviously a great matchup for rucks on the weekend.
Yeah, I'm not looking at Toby Murray with Tex coming back. So I feel like if he doesn't go out for Tex, it doesn't mean his job security is all but sewed up. Like Mitch Hinge is then a week away. Do they then just move some stuff around? Or like Jordan Butts needs to come back. Could they just move some stuff around with the tall stocks? Like, yeah, I just think that Murray, even if he survives selection, I wouldn't be going there. What about Paddy Cross? Was a 99k key forward, just dropped to 72 and has negative 26 break even. He's now 136k. You're looking at a key forward. He's gone 36, 37, and then the 72 in the favourable matchup against West Coast. Are you looking at Paddy Cross at all?
Potential. I think he's small forward. I think he's 181 centimeters. I saw today. Look, I don't love it. I think it's the best. I think it's the best option in terms of saving money. I'd rather Paddy Cross than Liam Henry. Put it that way. He's a mature ager, so he's been around the system a while. But like the 2 scores and 30s to start this year is always not a great start. So you know what you're going to get with him. The other thing, like comparing him to Liam Henry, the 70 is his most recent game as well. So it kind of keeps his cash going for a little bit longer. Whereas, Henry's 80 goes out straight away. So I like this better than Henry, but still not, I don't love it, but it might be the best option. What about Edwards, Tice? Charlie Edwards. Potentially could come. Oh, sorry, we'll go Will Edwards. Sorry, Will Edwards.
Yeah.
Looked good last week. Looked good. I mean, he was on the bubble last week. A few people sort of looked past, but he looked good. Did a few things. Tom McCann's a test for this week, so that'll say a lot about his job security. I think there's a best case scenario, you're getting 100k here, and that's probably tops. But I think he's your best defensive option.
Yeah, if Dirksen comes in, I think I'd prefer. Yeah, I think I'd probably prefer Dirksen, just for the fact that you're saving that 59k, and they've probably got very similar job security. Even if Dirksen, just comes in this week, so yeah, I definitely advocate for going Dirksen instead. If Dirksen is not picked, I probably still wouldn't touch Will Edwards at 158k. Just never know when he is going to be out of that side. So yeah, probably leaning against that one. In terms of Will Lewis, sorry, I was meant to say Paddy Cross was a small forward. I was looking at Will Lewis when I said key forward. The job security is still there with Sam Darcy out, and he actually looked really good on the weekend. 180k, went up 36k, but he's at 180k now for a key forward. I'm not sure if we're going there at all.
Nah, I'm not keen on this one. Just I'd rather Liam Henry over him. So, job security is good, but I don't think he's got much cash to make. Thomas Burton, Tice. I mean, a lot of us jumped on last week at 99k, but if you didn't, could you go there? 132k now, break even of negative 16.
Nah, not going there. He just showed playing a forward role in a bad side can just be, bad scoring. I think that 64 was just because it was against West Coast, but I mean, the job security is rock solid because Richmond can barely even field emergencies. So, yeah, I think the job security is good. If you, I just wouldn't go there at the moment with 132k. I'd probably almost lean Nick Cox over Thomas Burton for the same price. So, yeah, just go there. But last one, and I was thinking about this guy throughout the day, and then you sent me a message one night, and I was just like, is this guy an option as a downgrade? And I just had this weird feeling we're both thinking the same guy. Sullivan Roby, 209k is to pay up for a rookie, but midfielder forward, Dyson Sharp's just gone down. He has some pretty decent job security and now a midfield role.
Yeah, I think he's going to pinch it in there. I don't think he's going to be playing 70% CBAs, but had 40% on the weekend, which Dyson Sharp played until the third quarter at least, maybe even into the fourth. But he had CBAs from the first quarter. So he had the fourth most behind Peter Wright, Durham, and Sharp in the first quarter. And then the fifth most behind Merritt, Durham, the two ruckman, Parrish and Sharp. So he's sort of fifth in line in that or on the weekend just gone. Now there's no Sharp, which I think helps him, but there is maybe Corbell coming back, so they'll probably just cancel each other out, those two. But I think the talent is definitely there. Tice had 20 touches. He looked really good, and like you got to remember, this was against Brisbane as well. So he's also got Freo this week again, another tough matchup. Then into Richmond and West Coast. I just think there could be some spike scores there. I think he's just as likely to make 100K as the other guys, and I like the DBP, the job security, and the ceiling. I think is better on Roby. I know you're paying up, but I'd rather feel safe that he's going to keep your spot, and you've got the flexibility, rather than taking the punt at 160K on someone like Liam Henry who could get dropped and could drop you a 40. I think I just feel more comfortable spending an extra 40K on Roby.
Yeah, and top that with, you already mentioned the Richmond West Coast, but after that, it's still pretty easy.
Yeah.
You've got Carlton, Melbourne, then into his bye, which admittedly you might flip him then, but if you want to hold further, you've got North Melbourne and St Kilda after that, and then back into Brisbane, where he dropped to 69 already. So, I mean, that run is really good from now until round 18. So, yeah, it's just you've got to pay up for it. He's not one you have to get, and he might just, that little spiel there might have just convinced you to go him over someone else if you need more of that fieldable rookie through the buys. So I feel like he's probably the safest option we have to be on field and maybe the best job security out of the ones we've just mentioned previously. So yeah, take with that what you will. If you want to pay up for that, you can with Sullivan Roby. Now, we've got our rookies if we are downgrading, but what about some trade-ins? And like a few people did bank some cash, like myself, last week. So we've got some to spend. What about some premiums that we can target? Maybe some fallen premiums. I think there's a lot of fallen premiums that we can look at this week. And the one on the top of everyone's lips, not a fallen premium, but Archie Roberts, 597K, is being brought in by 5% of the competition this week alone. Got to break even 110, but gee, he loves some SuperCoach scores.
Yeah, he's a pig. He's a genuine pig. It actually hurts to watch as an owner. Like and like we mentioned with Roby, like the run up coming is so juicy. I was hoping as an owner that Redmond would have an impact on him. He absolutely did not. Still racked them up. Giants is a friendly matchup for halfbacks, but still was a very good game from him. And yeah, the matchups get easier for him. I'm hoping, I mean, again, just turning the page, I'm hoping Ridley might have an impact on him back in 2 weeks, I think. So could that. But yeah, he's a top liner. He's going to be D1, D2. So not much arguing. But I think in terms of trading targets this week, Tice, as you mentioned, there's a lot of fallen guys. I think there's heaps of value out there. I'm not paying up 600K for Archie Roberts this week when you can get like guys who could pump out close to his scores for 150K cheaper. So I wouldn't be looking there. I'd probably only be paying up for Rucks at this stage because you know what you're going to get from them. Who knows? Archie Roberts could get some attention with the way that he's playing. Speaking of fallen premiums, Tice, Hugh McCluggage is the next highest traded in. I think he is a really good option.
Yeah, he's clearly shown that he is back to that midfield role, and they're going to trust him a lot more as he's eased his way into this season. So, yeah, I'm a big fan of this pickup, 474K. The only issue is Geelong upcoming. So, does he get a tag? Geelong have tagged him in the past. I mean, I don't know. Like, I think Lachie Neale's the one that they need to run with, but they've got so many guys that can play that defensive role that he could easily be hindered by one of them.
Yeah, I think it goes to Neale, would be my gut, but you're still trading in that risk, right? So take with that what you will. The value is still there. His break even's in the 70s. So if you're going to grab in this week's week, you might cop a little bit of a hit. I always like to trade in to a sugar hit. It's always just nice, but it might not be the case this week, but I still think it's good buying. He averaged 119 last year, so we know his class. Isaac Rankin, Tice, next highest traded in player. He saw from his weekend, he can go big, played full midfield, had a career high in touches, 463k forward. What are your thoughts here? Because I'm a little bit skeptical.
I think what we've seen over the last 2 to 3 weeks is that they trust Rankin in that midfield. And like the full quitted team was back on the weekend. That full midfield was back. You had Berry, you had Dawson, you had Saligo was even back into the side, taking some CBAs. Peatling's there. Like everyone's there, and he's still the main midfielder and dominated with it. I know it was against Richmond, but I think he's almost solidified himself as in that top echelon of forward eligible players this year. The only thing I have against buying him this week, I think I am going to buy him at some point. The reason I want to advocate against it is the fact North this week. I just think that he's the most damaging player that Adelaide have in this side that Finn O'Sullivan would have to go to him. If Dawson plays midfield, maybe O'Sullivan goes to Dawson, but I just think Rankin is so impactful that North will put some attention into him. Hawthorn, they can get a bit defensive too, and then it's his bye round. So you may as well wait till after his bye when he's then got Geelong. They will put some defensive time into him. All I'm saying is like, you can buy him this week and he's going to be good for the season. He just might not be good over the next 3 to 4 week stretch.
Yeah, and the buy is so bad that I just don't think it's the week. I mean, we've definitely been wrong about this in the past, Tice. It's easy to read into matchups and fixtures and predict scores, but just nothing is in his favour in the next 3 or 4 weeks. The buy, the tags, and all of that. I just don't. I know it's still cheap, but I don't want to be buying into that. So for me, I looked at it when SuperCoach opened. I was interested because of how well he played. You also got to take into consideration it is Richmond. It's the easiest matchup for midfielders this year, so they're going to leak points. I can't expect 140, but like you said, I also think he's their best midfielder, maybe aside from Dawson. So he will, and it looks like they've settled on that. So I think he's one to look at moving forward, but the next month's just too hard for me, including that buy that I don't want to buy now. Bont is next on the list, Tice. It's just fair to say Bont is the cheapest probably. We're going to get him now. He's got a Marvel run, I think 4 of his next 5 at Marvel, maybe even 5 of his next 6 at Marvel. So and we know he averages, I think it's over 130 at Marvel. So he loves it there. He's got Carlton, Melbourne, Collingwood, Adelaide all in the next 5 games, which are really, really friendly matchups. I think just buy him when you can. Really, he's definitely in my trade plans this week, and I know you're considering to get him in the next couple. So, it's the Bont. Not much really more we can say here. I think same can be said for Whitfield, Tice. I mean, again, along with Archie Roberts, I think there's heaps of value this week that you could probably shop elsewhere, but he will be D1 or D2. So, and he's got a great buy as well. So, if you really wanted to shop up, I like Whitfield, I like Roberts. Take your pick there. I can't really split them, but I think there's heaps of value that I'd rather chase the value this week, which is where I'd probably look to the next couple of guys. And, if you're watching on YouTube, you can see that there's already some greens on Tyson's team when he's sharing the screen, because you are an owner of a few of these guys who are just proving to be too much value at this time of year, Ty. So start with Finn Callahan. I think you bought him last week, but 488k from memory. Up against West Coast this week. We know how good he was. I think he was a top 5 mid after the bye last year. So shows his ceiling is huge. That's what I'm saying. Like this value is too much to pass up on, I reckon.
Yeah, he's a genuine top liner. This guy dominates games. Clayton Oliver's been really good this year, but he's just playing that Tom Green role. Lockie Ash moving into that midfield could hurt Callahan a little bit, but you're talking about 488k for a guy that was a genuine top mid last year is just insane. And it's just due to the fact that he copped 2 tags in a row, which were a 65 and a 66. After that, sort of, need to bounce back into form. So 110 and 100, you're not going to complain about. And now you can buy him for 488k with a West Coast matchup who's, that's just a straight captain option, genuinely. A perfect buy upcoming. So I'd be targeting GWS players with round 13 only having GWS and Richmond on it. And that's exactly why we want to jump on Finn Callahan. He can give you those spike scores as a good captain option. And that is exactly why he is also with Lockie Whitfield in the high trade-in category. you want to be buying him before the buy rounds because he's perfect for the buys. Dane Zorko is another one that we're talking about cheap, 458k. I'm jumping on him this week as well as his teammate in Hugh McCluggage. It's just because of that injury affected 36. You're talking about a guy that's averaging 106 outside of that injury affected game. I'm buying. You just have to.
Yeah, I really want to. I mean, I keep boasting about, I keep going on about this value, but I think I'm getting bought this week. So goes to show where my head's at. But I think Zorko is incredible value. Like top 6 defender over the last 2 years, averaging 106. Take away that one injury game this year. Get him at that price is just great. Too hard to pass up on. I know there's issues with his body. You could make an argument there's issue with his body. He's like 38 or whatever and has just on a calf. But I think with how good he has been in the last couple of years, you just can't pass up on. You know me, Tyson, I hate Zorko. So me saying this hurts. But yeah, you just can't pass up on him. Bailey Dale has put together a really good last few weeks, Tice, but and I still think he's pushing that top 8 defender now, but I think you're probably looking Zorko ahead of him at 530k and continuing to rise. I'd rather Zorko, and I think if you're shopping in that price range, maybe he's your best bet, but I wouldn't be desperate to bring him in. I think it's probably Zorko in the defense or buy up and get Roberts or Whitfield if you can. Noah Anderson falls in a similar boat to like the McCluggage and Callaghan type in terms of fallen premiums in the midfield, but he's that slightly bit more expensive. But coming off a big 145 last week, we're both really high on him in general. Tyson had a slow start to the year, but I think it's good buying, just over 500k. The issue for me is the bad buy, and I think is it North next week or a tag game? Yeah, North next week. And we know Noah's struggled with tags in the past. Track did get tagged last week, so it could go to Track, but there are 2 question marks that probably steer me towards Clug or Callaghan if I had to choose.
Yeah, definitely. The 500k, I just don't think I've seen enough from Noah Anderson this year. Even like on the weekend, he was good, but that was with no Raul, who's probably coming back this week. And we've only seen with the full quitted midfield of Raul, Petrarca, and Anderson and Took Miller only once. And yeah, this was in Anderson's form slump. So I'm going to say it's a form slump. I just haven't seen enough for it to convince me to jump on him just yet at 500k. So give it till after the buy, because if you see enough this week, he's then got the tag, like you said, and then his buy. So just keep an eye on Anderson for now. I'd say Nick Blakey is a big talking point this week, actually. 501k, you're a big fan of this guy, and I can see why. Like, he's just... His game is starting to transition to SuperCoach because of how Sydney are playing and how fast AFL is moving at the moment. Like Collingwood this week into Geelong, which I think is actually not a bad matchup, into Richmond and St Kilda, who leak so much points to half-backs. It's a great week to buy Nick Blakey, especially with his break-even of 64.
Yeah, I really like Nick Blakey. I've been high on him for a while. He's prone to a bad game, so just know that you're buying into that, but his ceiling is really big. He can dominate games. Geelong, Sydney are playing really, really good footy, and he's a big catalyst for that. So, I love Blakey. I think the value is really good. Like comparing to a Bailey Dale, I think I'd rather save the 30k and go to Nick Blakey. A couple of fallen premiums again, Tyson, in terms of the Freo boys. Caleb Sarong and Andy Brayshaw both down on their form in previous seasons, but Sarong bounced back last week with a 116. Any interest in either of these guys up against Eston this week, both sitting around the 460k mark?
I'd probably be more interested in Sarong, just seeing your roller coaster review with Brayshaw.
Barely even a roller coaster. There's nothing nice.
I don't actually understand why this has been so bad for him. They're just... A lot of points are going around too. Jackson and Hayden Young now playing a lot more footy. Probably helps. Doesn't help them, and Shea Bolton's playing pretty good. So, I just wouldn't jump onto either of them when you've got a Callaghan, you've got a Zorko, you've got a McCluggage this week. You don't have to risk it on these guys. If we didn't have all of those fallen premiums, I'd probably be looking at Sarong this week. But yeah, I think there's some better, safer options this week. DeGoey is next on this list, Das. Like, are we actually bringing up this guy? I think we do because, I was pretty hot on this guy during the preseason. I know you were at stages as well. He's just fresh off the back of a 127 when he actually looked good the week before in the first half, then just forgot how to play footy in the second half against the Hawks. But I've seen enough in the last 3 weeks that he is playing good footy.
Yeah, he's arguably played 5 good halves of footy out of his last 6. So what is it, 110 into I think it was a 75-point first half against Hawthorn Tyson, then had a negative second half. Ended up with the 72 or whatever it was, and then 127 against Geelong. Other than Essendon, not easy matchups. Like Hawthorn and Geelong, a tough matchup for midfielders. He's getting a consistent role inside that Collingwood midfield, so around that 50 to 60% CBA. So not as high as we saw last year, where he was probably attending most of them, but just over half and then drifting forward and impacting the scoreboard as well, which is, I think, where he helps Collingwood the best. I like it. It's a gamble. I know it is. And there's another guy that we'll talk about as well who's in a similar boat, who I think a lot more people are favouring, but I like it. DPP is good. Buy's not terrible. It's just what's the ceiling? He's done 96 in a season before. I think it was 23. That's his ceiling, which would easily scrape him into, F6 calculations. But you're betting on his best. And can you be sure? I don't think so. But the ceiling's there. We can do it. The role's there. And the price is really good. So I don't know. I wouldn't begrudge anyone. I wouldn't talk anyone out of it because it's fun. It's a fun pick. You can ride it, and it's different to the rest of the competition.
Yeah. Yeah, I just think at this point in the season, I'm probably not going there.
Yeah.
I probably wouldn't say for people to go there. If this was your F7 loop option where DeGoey can go massive and give you those spike scores to loop on, I'd be more inclined to do that there. So it's probably just not at this point of the season. But if you do have the balls and you want to do that, I don't actually hate it that much. The other one that you alluded to before was actually Sam Durham, mid forward, back into the CBAs from what we've seen this year. Got a break even at 27 at 389K. We've already spoken about his matchups upcoming. The run is really good. So apart from Freo this week, it's unreal and looks to be. He's put together 2 back-to-back hundreds against some pretty formidable opposition.
Yeah, his 2 biggest CBA numbers in the last 2 weeks and turned up in both of them, like you said, in tough competitions, tough opponents. So, yeah, and that buying, I really like it. It is F6. He's done low 90s before, so can't expect too much from him. But it's good value. So you're shopping in the F6, like you said, maybe F7, M9 loop areas, that's sort of where you're looking. But similar to DeGoey, I think there's upside there. You're getting a good bargain, but I'm not going to be talking anyone into it. That probably sums up the trade-in section, Tice. What about some DPP updates? Have you got some updates for us? And we got 2 more games, so this game, then round 11. Then after round 11, we got the DPP updates. What have you got for us?
Yeah, we've got a bit of updates here, courtesy of Scobie over on X. So shout out to him. He's puts in a mountain of work for the DPP updates for us. Jordan Dawson, Max Gawn, and the Bont are probably not getting their respective DPP upgrades with, 14, 12, and 17% respectively in their defensive forward and forward positions. Some others that are on the horizon, Ash, 23% midfield time. We know he's moved into the midfield, but it's not going to be a huge change to our sides with a mid DPP. But Angus Anderson, 31% forward. That could be nice to have if we still have him in 2 weeks. Tanner Bruin, we already touched on. He's got 34% defensive time. So, he is a chance of getting it, but I think a lot of people are moving on. I don't think the fact that he gets defensive status makes him more of a hold option. So I wouldn't look at it too much. Hayden Young is 30% forward status. This one kind of interests me from a SuperCoach point of view. We're both pretty high on Hayden Young. If he can just keep that body right, maybe he becomes an option after he gets that DPP. But hopefully he's not too much at that point. Zach Merritt's 26% forward, so he needs to play a bit more forward time to get that, a fair bit over the next couple of weeks. And DCAM's 23% forward, so I think DCAM's probably ruled out of getting that forward status. In terms of some guys that are actually over the 35% threshold currently and looking likely to get the DPP, Milan Murdoch's guaranteed to get forward status with 81% forward. So that's a massive tick because he's a rookie that we can hold through the buys. Jagger Smith, for the people that did hold and got that 100 last week, he's at 39% forward status. So hopefully for the people that did hold, he doesn't play too much midfield time to miss out on that forward DPP. Cam Zerha, your boy Das, 42% defensive DPP. So that'd be a nice little swing if that occurs. And the flip that occurred at North was Zerha into defense and McKercher forward. Kercher is 43% forward. So that is pretty big for the people that are, still holding him until his buy round. But if that forward status comes in, he actually becomes an option as a top line forward. So keep an eye on that. Max Holmes is a big one, 35% defensive status. That's obviously coming after round 11, but with the last couple of scores, we can probably afford to wait. He's not going to be out of reach too quickly. So wait and see if he's going to get that. Lincoln McCarthy's 37% defense. But yeah, we're probably not jumping on him. And then Sam Cumming is 39% forward. So that's a pretty decent one for the people that did jump on him, but we're hoping for some more midfield time moving forward. So I'm happy to, especially because he doesn't play enough games to get that DPP anyway, come round 11. So that's it for the DPP updates that we've got. Thanks to Scobie for that one. Das, teams this week. We've got the teams for Brisbane and Geelong for tomorrow night's game. Anything to note for that game?
Just that we were touching a couple of times, Derek Joy's been dropped, so make sure if you have brought him in, just reverse your trades. But other than that, not heaps. I mean, there's some rumours around Bailey Smith being sore and not training. So just keep an eye on that. He's been named, but he's definitely not been shy of a laid out. So, keep an eye on that. Mitch Edwards is back. I don't think most people moved him on by now. And Sam Marshall, first game for the year, Tice. It was on a few people's radars in the preseason about potential rookie to start. So let's see if he can put some nice scores together and keep his spot on that side. But probably it from a SuperCoach side of things. Just to finish things off, Tice, we have got Q&A. So if you do ever want some of your questions answered, head over to our socials. So both Instagram and Facebook will post a story, usually in the afternoon on a Wednesday. What day it was? On a Wednesday, and you can ask any questions you have there and we'll address them on the pod. So we'll go through them now. First one's from Daniel Tice. He wants to know when's the right time to grab an R2 and who is it? So he's got McAnder at R2 and he has Grundy at R1. You're in a very similar position with Gawn at R1. When are you targeting your R2?
I think just when it suits your upgrades. I think this week, if you're really trying to target the fallen premiums, grab them. If I wasn't targeting McCluggage and Zorko, I'd be flipping McAndrew to a Grundy, Jackson, or Cherry. I'd only go either of those three, with Gawn currently doing a dual ruck, with Luke Jackson just dominating, and Christian Cherry's run is amazing for the rest of the year. So, yeah, Grundy, Jackson, and Cherry would be the ones I'd target. If Gawn starts getting back to solo ruck at some point, he'll probably be in the 500Ks, and that's when you can grab him. But I wouldn't be holding out for an R2 for that. That's probably more a flex play come later in the year. So I think it's just whenever it suits your upgrades and you don't have the fallen premium that you want to jump on, or if you don't have the bond, you have to jump on the bond. So because the rucks aren't fluctuating too much in price, they're going to be up around that 670 to 680K range. So just grab whenever. Brandon is the next question here, Das. Is it worth using your last boost to grab Dirksen, Callahan, and Whitfield or Roberts?
Yeah, I love it. Like using your boost to upgrade your team. Hopefully, Dirksen get picked. Obviously, other than that, there's not much in defense. So, fingers crossed you have a bit of DPP swing and can grab someone else. But yeah, Callahan and one of the big dogs in defense. If you can bring them in, it's well and truly worth your last boost. So I think that's a great trade. From Brendan Tice,
Who would you
who would I go?
Who would you advocate for more
Probably
out of Whitfield and Roberts?
Whitfield, I think. I just like the proven performer. He's done it for years and years and years. And yeah, I mentioned Ridley coming back. I don't know if it's going to have a huge effect on Roberts, but I don't think it will. But I think Whitfield is slightly cheaper as well and a better buy. So probably just Whitfield for mine. Brendan has a couple of questions, Tice. He wants to know, is Zorko too good to pass up? Or would you rather Callahan?
Depends how you're structured in terms of the amount of midfield premiums and defender premiums you have, and like who you don't have out of the big dogs in the midfield and defense. So you just need to make sure you have enough spots to finish with the big dogs in the midfield and defense. We're talking about the bomb. We're talking about Dacos, Whitfield in defense, like Lockie Ash if he's going to go back to defense. I wouldn't call him a big dog at this point, but Sinclair. So yeah. Depends on team, but if you're just talking Zorko versus Callahan, Callahan is a lot better.
Okay. I would almost lean Zorko. I think he's better chance of being a top liner than Callahan and cheaper. So, and like the form, you can't argue the form with Zorko. He's just had one bad game, which has resulted in the price, whereas Callahan's form's been a little bit questionable. So I'd probably just lean Zorko there. He also wants to know, is Worrell's hopes of a top 10 defensive position gone with his recent form? I don't think so, personally. I'd like to get your thoughts, but I think Dawson back there has affected him. But I don't think Dawson back there is a long-term play from Adelaide. I think they're just probably easing him back into it. So I think he can turn his form around. Maybe not top 10, but I think he's going to be in that category.
Yeah, he's got a current average of 97.6, but that is on the trajectory down, like you said, because of Dawson moving back there. I don't think that's a long-term play from Adelaide. A top 10 defender is averaging 100 at the moment, like with Nick Blakey bang on 100. So, yeah, I think it's pretty safe to say he's still in and around that mark enough that he's not worth a trade at all. But he might be a luxury upgrade come down later down the track if Dawson's still in that same role and affecting Worrell the same amount. So, yeah, he's still in and around top 10. Yep. So, yeah, that's probably my answer there. Damon asks, Dersma out for Cherry or Roberts?
I would lean Cherry. I think Chase the big dog rucks. That's my opinion. I think if you're buying in the ruck category and you don't have Grundy, I think Grundy's a great buy this week. I know the break-even's high, but got Collingwood with no Darcy Cameron into Richmond into Geelong, or into Geelong into Richmond, one of the two. So 3 really easy ruck matchups the next 3 weeks. But in terms of Sherry or Roberts, I think I'd just lean up Sherry. What about you?
Yeah, I'd say Sherry too. I think people are forgetting that Archie Roberts I think it's just his second season of footy, but the role is just amazing. I don't know. It's just unreal. And yeah, there's the advocate of maybe Ridley comes back and affects him, but no one affects the ruckman more. Yeah, especially when he's solo ruck. Daniel asks for a similar question. Nazz and Dersma for Cherry at flex and run a 3 ruck with Gawn and Grundy already, or bring in Petrarca and Archie Roberts?
I think Sherry. I'd bring in the 3rd ruck. I know it limits you with flexibility a little bit, but I wouldn't be trading into track now just with the potential tags coming up and the buy in round 12. And then in terms of Sherry or Archie Roberts, don't trade into Archie Perkins. Archie Roberts, I think, we mentioned that. I'd rather Sherry at this stage. BK Your Shout Tice has asked Zorko, McCluggage, or Ash. So who would you choose out of those 3? or would you just trade Lindsay and go to Roberts instead? I think I'd rather hold Lindsay and grab one of the fallen premiums. But who would you pick out of those three?
I wouldn't be grabbing Ash with his current role. We want that halfback role. As much as he's still doing well in that midfield role, I think this ceiling is a little bit capped in the fact that he hasn't played a lot of midfield at AFL level. So I'd probably avoid Ash this week and target Zorko or Klug. And it's the same as what I was saying before with Zorko or Callahan. It really depends on your structure, but I'd be going McCluggage out of the two.
Yeah, fair enough. I think I would go Zorko. Oh, I don't know. Zorko or Klug. I think, like you said, one of the two. I really like McCluggage as well, so I'd be pretty stuck there. And last question is from Moose. He's asking, Nazz and McAndrew out for Callahan and Zorko. Do you like those trades?
Yeah, that's unreal. I'm assuming you're playing for overall with trading out Nazz. So, yeah, that's perfect trades, and still leaves you like it's pretty much cash for cash. Like whatever you have in the bank is still there. You're not worrying about rookies this week when there's not many. So, I definitely love those trades.
Yeah, perfect. Well, that sums up the Q&A, Tice. What about your final trades? What are you finishing with, do you think?
Yeah, my current trades, like we're talking about rookies, and there's not too many on this week, so I'm just going to try and avoid it because I had the cash last week. So I've currently got Lindsay and Bruin out for Zorko and McCluggage. I'm probably just going to find a way to hold Lindsay. I might just do Blamirez out instead of Lindsay. I just need to make sure I have enough cash next week to grab Bont because I still don't have him and I can't afford 2 upgrades this week when I want to avoid the rookies this week. So, yeah, that's my thinking at the moment. So I just need to tinker around with it a bit. So I assume it's going to be Blamirez and Bruin out. What about you?
I think I'm going Bruin and McAndrew at this stage. Maybe Bruin and Rochelle. I don't know. We'll see. But for Bont and a rookie, I think Sullivan Roby, potentially Lockie Smith, because I can, but I don't think I like the flex, how stuck it makes me feel. So potentially Sullivan Roby. I think I like that. Captain?
Captain, I'm running Isaac Heaney on the Friday night against Collingwood. I'm hoping he just destroys you guys, and I think he will with that midfield matchup. I was going to go into Nazz against Richmond, but I'll probably look at Callahan against West Coast.
Nice. Very good. I think ideally I would love to VC Grundy into Sherry. I think that's a layup, or even Bont. Like I think we'll have 3 pretty good captaincy options this week. But my issue, Tice, is I don't have a loop. I've got Zizou plays on Thursday night, and that's about it. I think Todd Marshall probably won't get picked, but again, playing Friday night in the doubleheader, so it might have to be a Max Holmes VC into Grundy potentially, or Lockie Neal, or I don't know. Hopefully, like I mentioned before, Myers gets dropped and I could use him, but it'll probably be a Holmes into Grundy or Holmes into Sherry or Bont. I'll see how I go. And then finally, Tice, a Rocket. Who's a player you want to chuck the Rocket up? It's not performing to your standards.
I wanted to put the Rocket up my whole team last week, and they went falling down in a heap. So, my Rockets are not doing anything this year, but for the sake of it, I'll put it up. Jason Horne-Francis. I just think the fact he's put out 275s back to back is frustrating as much as I was all over it the 2 weeks prior to that. Bit of a roller coaster there.
Yeah. No.
What about you?
Well, at least you got him early. Like I think a lot of people traded him in after those 200s and have been really hurt the last couple of weeks. So you have ridden the wave, which is good. I think I'm gonna go Andy Brayshaw, Tice. Could be Rocket number 4 for the year, and none of them have worked. But I'll just keep chucking at him until he decides to lift his game a little bit. So I'll chuck it. I'll keep giving him Rockets until I trade him out. But yeah, that sums up the episode. So thanks for listening. Let us know what you thought in the comments, and make sure you do like and subscribe and follow along our socials for any updates come the weekend. But until next time, best of luck for the weekend, Tice, and we'll see you on Monday.
Yep, sounds good. Thanks, Dust.
Thanks, Tice.